Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Savage and today we're going to be having a look at BTC. We've had some unexpected moves to the downside here. We were expecting to find support, but we've blasted through it. So we need to start reevaluating our count here. We have to be flexible with our count and allow for changes when things don't go our way or the waves start to react differently to how we thought. But first, I'd like to say thank you for watching this video. If you like to show your support, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, so we can try to keep you up to date. Turn on that bell notification so you never miss a video. And with that said, let's get into the video. So basically, what we were looking at yesterday is the possibility that we had this as a 1, a 2, looking for this as a third, a fourth, and looking for that fifth wave to the upside. So for the most part, this is invalidated now because we've moved down and we've crossed this wave 1. So there's a few things that we need to talk about here. But there is still a possibility, very slim though, that we could have a expanding diagonal in this situation. We have this as a 1, 2, 3, and this is all a fourth wave and a fifth wave to the upside. That would invalidate by crossing this low point here at 16,871. Crossing 16,871 would invalidate this completely, and we'd have to basically just write it off, even though I don't think it's that likely at the moment anyway, especially with the moves down that we've currently had. So what else could be going on here? So we did briefly talk about it in yesterday's video that we could potentially have this as an A wave, a B wave, and then looking for this as a completed C wave. But if I just delete all this here, what I said yesterday is that I didn't like it because we would have to count this as a fourth wave here. So it would have to be, it's possible there's a triangle within this move. But basically we would be looking at either this starting here and then looking for that as a fifth wave there. The thing I don't like about this is that this wave 2 is so long in comparison to this wave 4, so it throws out the proportion here. So that's why I didn't like it. But we can't deny the fact that we have had a reaction off this high and we have looked to break this low and we've taken this wave 1. So for the most part, that could be what's going on still. And with that said, basically what we would have to look at here is that either this is now a completed ABC and we're looking to break down further, and what we'd be looking for there is basically the fact that this is a completed fourth wave in a diagonal or a B wave if it's a bigger diagonal. So what we'd be looking at with these immediate moves is there's a couple of ways of reading this as well, because this move at the moment is not making a lot of sense, especially if we drop down here into the 15-minute chart. We can see that we have this bit of overlap here as well. So we have this big move down, then a move up, then a move down, and then basically there's this overlap here, and this third wave is not making sense in this situation. So what we could have is a 1, 2, 3, and then we have this as a triangle, and then this is all a fifth wave that's unfolding here, and it's becoming extended. Or we could have this as a completed 5-wave move into this low point here, and then we have a triangle within here. And if that's the case, basically what we'd be looking at is this is an A wave, B wave, and then looking for a C wave to the downside. The thing is with the way that this is reacting, it's quite violent. So if I throw a fib on this move, basically we can see from this low point across to this high point of this, where it would be a triangle, we can see we have come down and we've already hit this 1-to-1 zone. And what this tells me, actually, let me get this right on the money there. What this tells me is basically if this is going to be a corrective pattern, and we would have to look at it as an ABC with a B wave. So basically it would be a double zigzag at this point. What we would be looking for is the fact that if we just measure this down into this low, we can see we've come down to this 1, 2, 3, 6. What we need to be careful of is that we do not cross this 1618 zone, which is down here at 16,802. If we cross that, then it would be more likely to me that we are within a bigger impulsive structure in this move, and we would be looking for an additional fourth and a fifth. And then that would look to break both this low and this low here, which would invalidate any kind of a potential, basically a potential impulse or anything from that point. What we then need to be aware of is that we could be looking for continuation to the downside, because if we do move down in this manner, even though we could have to look at this triangle, we could have this as an A, B, C, just a bigger one because of the triangle. We need to just also bear in mind we can count this different ways. So we could also potentially count this as a wave 1 into here, a flat correction. So you can see a ABC there. It actually doesn't look like a flat, to be honest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down into there. A, B, C. So W, X, Y. So we can count this like this. Basically, if we hit this impulse here, we need to be careful, because then what we could be setting up for is the fact that when we have a bigger impulsive move here, and that would be looking from this point here up into here. So we can see by crossing this other impulsive area, basically crossing the 16939 area, this already crosses the potential impulse of this. So then we'd have to look at this move slightly different, and all of this would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we'd have an additional 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if that's the case, basically what we'd be looking for is a move deeper down. So if we just plot this out roughly, what we would be looking for is confirmation by crossing below there. Basically, until these moves unfold a bit more, it's very hard to see where we're going, because of most of the times with these we need to see how they react. So why is that different now? My point's different. Okay, so 16,813. That's the area I'm currently looking out for. Basically, if we cross that, then what we could have here is a bigger 5-way move to the downside. 1, 2, 3, back up to there, and then 5, which would put us roughly in the zone here of 16,723 to 16,610. Okay, so that would be that 5-way move there. But then now we would have to take into account that we have potential of having this as a 1, 2 with a flat here. So that's A. So A, B, and then a small C wave in there as a 5-wave move. What we would then be looking for is additional fourth and a fifth. And if this plays out as we've got it shown here, basically would look to take these lows, and if I just jump back out here into the hourly, what we could have is this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this would look to target out. If I just do this from this point, the thing is with this move, I don't really like it, because we're assuming that the low is going to be, well, that the wave 2 is very short, so it doesn't look very good on the proportion size, but this is what we would be expecting, some kind of a move down like this. Now, this is bearing that we don't have further extension within these waves. If it's going to become a bigger impulse to the downside, we could have some extension going on that's not apparent at the moment. And what we would be looking out for then, basically, is that if we um, start to break down more impulsively, and then we have some extensions within these waves, we could have the fact that maybe instead of having this as a 1, 2, we've got a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5 for wave 3, and then we still have this wave 1 to do a 4 and a 5 for. For the time being, what I'm looking out for is we need to see whether we can hold the 16,871 area. If we do manage that, then there is still possibility of a bounce to the upside, though basically, unless we break above this high point here, we need to be aware that we could continue to break down. So if we don't form this 5-wave structure to the downside and we hold this zone here as an ABC, what else could be going on? We could still have a WXY in this move, and what that would be looking at is looking to target out this top area here still. We'd have to look at this as a W, this as either a 5-wave move or a zigzag. It doesn't matter which one, but basically looking for this as a, sorry, so this would, instead of being an ABC, this would be a W, an X, and a Y. And if I delete this move off of here now, what we'd be looking at is the fact that within this Y wave now we have a potential for an A down in this B, and then looking for a C. And if that does play out, a potential target area could be this 18,991. Though, like I said, because of the current structure here, we need to be very careful that this doesn't extend to the downside. And if we continue to break down, what we would be waiting for is confirmation by taking out these lows. Taking out this low here at this 16,678 would make this current structure that I'm plotting invalid as well. So we just need to bear that in mind. But a one-to-one of this A wave from the current point, provided we don't go down and invalidate it by crossing those lines, or this impulsive trigger here rather, what we would be looking at is potential to move up to this 18666 as a one-to-one. If that does play out, then basically what we would just have here is a bigger W, X, and a Y into these zones. But like I said, the one-to-one of this W wave is currently up here at this 18991. So if we do manage to hold these zones, we could be potentially looking to target some of these areas up here, though I'm not very confident in this. The way this move has sort of been rejected off here is a bit worrying, and ideally, so if there is any potential for continuation, this might be a zone we find it in. Actually, let me just double check that, because I think that support box has probably changed slightly. It has. Okay, so let me get rid of this now because we don't need it anymore. And basically, we can see we've moved down to this 50% so far. But it's whether this starts to move away now. If it doesn't, then we could look for potential to find support between this 16,000 area. You can see we've got a lot of support around the 702 as well, but really losing the 786 to me would probably indicate that we are moving down in a 5-wave move, a bigger 5-wave move. So if I just turn this all off, we were looking at this as a potential. Let's turn that on there. Okay. So if I just come here onto the 4-hourly, we can look at this in two ways, and basically we can either look at it as we have some kind of a an ending diagonal where we have this is a 1 into here, this is a 2. Would be either forming the 3 and a 4 and a 5. So this would be looking at this as a diagonal shape. And what we would be looking for with this is that if we look to break, so if we look to break down, we could be still within this third wave here. And basically what we have is an A, B, and a C. And what that would mean is that we could potentially look to target out this one-to-one zone. And if I drop this on here, we can look at this as a triangle in there or a bigger complex move, but we're going to go with that for now. Let's get this right on this top here. 12,361 could be a potential target area for this. based off of this move here. If this is going to be an ABC to the downside like this, there is also the possibility though, however, we need to just bear in mind that we could see this as a 1-2, 1-2 situation, in which case dropping down below, if I just put this on here, get on there, basically dropping below the point of this 14,000 area could allow for us to count this slightly different, and we could then count this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 just as a regular impulse, and then we would have an additional fourth and fifth wave to come. So there's a few things that we need to just bear in mind here. There is a way of also counting this where we have this as a 1 into here. We have this as a 3. We have this as a 4, also in a diagonal sort of idea. And then basically we're looking for a zigzag to complete in a fifth wave. So if that's the case, what we'd be looking for is a zigzag to the downside to complete. That would be the most favorable outcome, but still I think we would be looking for a move down back to retest this trend line here potentially. But until we get more structure here, we can only sort of guess. If this starts to break down violently, then we could be looking for much deeper prices. But should it just be a smaller zigzag, we could even just look to just break below these zones and then turn around. Though I don't think that's very likely. My personal opinion is I think that we are still within the third wave and we are forming a bigger diagonal, but we will have to see. Moving back above this point here, 21,480 would validate the potential of a bigger diagonal and basically invalidate this whole idea that we've still got a fourth and a fifth wave to come to the downside here. Okay, well, I hope you found this video useful, and if you did, please hit that like button and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Thank you for watching the video. Keep safe out there, everybody, and until we see each other in the next video, take care.